So yes, I'm here to talk about combining data in the creative planning process for outdoor advertising. So some of you probably know JCDecaux already, so it's a global leader in outdoor advertising, and we are in more than 75 countries around the world, including Finland. So as mentioned, out-of-home media is growing, and it's I would say it's like a second life for us. There are several reasons for this. So first of all, urbanization. So obviously, a lot of our media, like here in the Helsinki metro, are in the city centers or in transport hubs. So more and more people are going through these hubs. So for us, it means more eyeballs and therefore more business. Then it's digitalization. So obviously, we are seeing more and more digital screens in the city, but we also are using more and more digital tools to do the media planning. And a lot of our clients are actually using these tools to plan the campaigns already. So these two things combined mean that we are less and less, I would say, traditional media, but we are going to the digital media space. And we are working actually still with the same people as before to plan outdoor advertising, but we work more and more with the digital teams. And the next step for us is actually to go towards programmatic, and it's going to be a big shift for our industry as well. So the digitalization of out-of-home advertising. So obviously, we used to have only posters, so it limits the way to be creative. But now with digital, obviously you can have moving images. So in Finland we are quite lucky because we don't have any restrictions on what type of content we play, which is not the case in other countries. But we can be quite creative from that point of view. The dynamic content. So we are able to basically use different sources of weather content or events content. To be able to trigger the right ad at the right time. Data-driven targeting, so we are moving away from only targeting certain locations, but we want to also use more and more audience-based targeting, which for you online people is a basic thing, but in out-of-home it's a very new thing, which is happening at the moment, so it's a quite big shift. And data-driven content, so basically customers can also use their own data to enrich the content. So we'll see some example in a short video with BMW, for example. So this is a short movie from Brazil. Maybe.
São Paulo, a city with more than 200 kilometers of traffic during peak hour. To the 12 million inhabitants, it means wasting a lot of time. To the rescue teams, it may mean losing a life. How could our digital billboards help solve this problem? JCDecaux, the #1 worldwide in out-of-home advertising, presents Emergency Route. A way of completely freeing up the left lane for ambulances.
O projeto Rota de Emergência não é apenas projeto de inovação nos relógios da JCDecaux. É projeto que contribui com o Estado de São Paulo e visa salvar vidas.
We developed an exclusive app that connects the GPS of ambulances to the city billboards. Whenever a rescue team goes out and sets its route, our app sends a message to the digital billboards that are along the way, warning the drivers ahead of time to get them to make way and free up the left lane.
É aplicativo que todo motorista de ambulância deveria ter.
The system is a study on innovation and part of JCDecaux's strategy to collaborate with the city. 3 ambulance companies are already testing the app. Emergency Route, saving lives. The most important message we could advertise.
Yes, so it was mentioned here that we collaborate a lot with the cities, so we are usually part of these smart cities activities. So it's not only about serving ads, but it's also about helping communities sometimes. Like now in US, there is a big campaign going on to find a missing child, for example. So this is also something where the billboards can be used. So data, I mean, it can be used as part of the out-of-home creative process. Obviously, the easiest way is to use location targeting based on the point of interest. So if you are a pet store, you might want to target, dog parks, for example. We can target universities for students and so on, because we know exactly where our panels are located, and then we have data about the point of interest around them. Contextual targeting, as I mentioned, so events and weather. We'll see one example after this. Reactive content, so this is something which is very kind of new in out of home, because we used to be a quite slow media where basically you have a poster for 1 week and then you forget about it. You cannot really change it or do anything. But now with digital, it's possible to preload the content, and then if something happens, like Finland winning the World Championship in ice hockey, then you can immediately play the campaign. So this is a big change for us. Audience targeting, as I mentioned, so we are defining certain target groups also which can be used by other media. So when you are accessing your DSP, for example, you can select the same target groups for mobile and then out of home as well. And optimizing the creative content. So basically, if you have a campaign to promote concert tickets, and then you already know that the concert is sold out, then you can move to another concert and change the creative on the fly, for example. So this is basically the most basic way of doing location targeting. So you point at the right direction and you say the distance to the store. Actually, we had quite interesting campaign for JCDecaux, which was a poster campaign, and basically they had created a lot of different creatives to post around the city to basically tell what kind of projects they had in this neighborhood. So I found this quite creative in a way. Of course, digital will help to make it much easier, but they did it on the posters at the time. Then this is an example of, holiday destinations. So the digital screen will tell you exactly how long it will tell you from this specific location to reach your holiday destination using a car and the plane. So in this case, 12 hours, 49 minutes. Then some drive to store. So you can basically also give the right route to the consumer based on the location of the shop and the panel. So now we'll go into the contextual targeting using weather data with a Gore-Tex campaign. So obviously you will need to load all the different creatives beforehand, and then have some kind of API connected to weather data, or then you can have your mini weather station on top of the shelter. It's also possible. And then the creative will be automatically changed depending on the actual weather. So we feel that this has more impact for the people walking by when they can more relate of what's happening in their context. This has been used also in Finland. So reactive content is also a way to use some other sources of data. So it could be the customer data, or it could be some other sources of data. We will see now for BMW, which basically gives you some hint where to find a free parking space. this is a great example of promoting your brand and adding value to the consumer as well. So that's probably something that people really appreciate. So the audience data targeting. So we are, for example, in Finland, working with some mobile analytics company, and we gave them all our locations in Helsinki, and they are able to basically give us the best location for certain interests. So in this case, movie lovers. So the darkest the point is, the best location it is. So, and it's basically, it's not only based on the movie's location, it's actually how people have been moving in the past in different locations. And then you can have this data also on a hourly basis, which for us will be very important when we are going to programmatic. Because when we are going to programmatic, we are not going to the 300 milliseconds, but we will go to hour by hour, which for us is already quite a big step. Finally, a bit of artificial intelligence, as we already talked earlier. We are also using some tool in Finland from a Finnish startup called Visual Mind. And as part of the creative process, so basically this tool, which has been fed with more than 6,000 pictures analyzed by more than 4,000 people, then these results have been fed to the machine learning algorithm. And now we are able to basically get some sentiment analysis of the creative. So in this case of Audi, you see premium, sporty, and so on. So they have defined approximately 40 keywords, which will give you some insights on the creative. So this is Adria, which gives you this rustic, natural, authentic. One of the interesting features is that you can also load a lot of different creatives at once, and then it will show you on the chart if all these creatives are more or less in the same area, or if one of the creatives is totally different. So we feel that at the moment it's more like, okay, you don't have so many creatives, but in the future, if we start to use programmatic, we will start to have maybe hundreds or thousands of creatives. So using artificial intelligence can help us maybe to make a first check on the creatives, and then of course there will still be some human interaction, but that's a very good complement. So I hope that this presentation gives you some ideas on how to create great content for out of home using data, and hope we'll be working together soon. So that's all for me.